Okay, just to get started on doing the Lovey blanket, you're going to need 2 full pieces, and you have to have the stretch needs to go this way on the embroidery, making sure that the nap is going in the right direction. So 2 pieces for the head. You're going to need, for the collar, 2 pieces. They will be sandwiched. And then you're going to need this for the arms. That will get you started. Now, making sure that the nape is going in the right direction and the stretch going this way, we are going to lay that over that placement line. That's a placement line. Making sure, excuse my arm for a second, that I get everything in. Okay, the 2 pieces are on top. Making sure, because this would be really color, kind of that weird, kind of strange green. I'm using kind of a teal green here. It's also Shannon Fabrics. Placing that over the placement line. These are the placement lines. And this one's a little off camera, but I'm doing the exact same thing. Okay. Going to hold it here in place so it doesn't move. Try and use as little of that spray adhesive as possible because it really grabs on this inky fabric. Again, this is Tearaway Stabilizer, which I use in all of my designs. Now I'm going to go ahead and trim this up. You don't have to, and it's just the upper edge where the next piece goes on. It doesn't have to be perfect. And go ahead and start that to see what you're doing. Now, you're going to need your 2 pieces of minky again, but in this, your stretch needs to go again this way, but your nap, because if you put this on upside down with the nap going this way, it's going to be upside down. So make sure that the nap is upside down, lining up with the top. There should be extra fabric here just in case, so I kind of slide it up a little bit. And placing that over top of that. I did that on both. trim a little bit. And this one you're going to finish first because you're going to need it at the base of the other one. So we're going to trim up. I like to hold it. Now see how the nap is going in the correct direction. It's just going to do another around the edge to make sure that when it tears out pretty evenly. Going down to our second piece, telling you that we're going to line that up again. Again, like I told you earlier, the nap needs to be upside down here. Plenty of extra to go, so you don't have to have that lined up exactly. I'm just doing the same thing as you did above. And I'm going to trim that excess off. Does not have to be perfect. And we're going to flip. You could trim it. You don't have to trim it. You can trim it later. Okay. Now let's stitch this out. It can be quite confusing when this is being played out, but these steps are just to remind you what you need to be doing next. So it's going all the way around the edge, which is a placement line. That is your placement line. So what in fact that is telling you is you need this piece now. So you're going to lightly tear that out so you don't tear the rest. It'll hold up fine. It'll be fine. You'll see. And then make sure that you are cutting around the edge of that so you can line everything up with that outer edge. Keep the stabilizer on the back. It's easier to handle. I am presently just cutting this. Okay, see, we have a cut. I trimmed her up, leaving the stabilizer on the back. Okay, unfortunately I don't have the most expensive camera. I had this inexpensive document camera for school, so just line those up, making sure everything lines up nice. Does not, again, have to be perfect. Okay, we're back over here, and I just want you to notice I did leave this on because it's easier to cut leaving the stabilizer. Your outer line, that includes this here because you're going to cut that off, so that's the opening. So I'm going to go ahead, trim around. Nice thing is these are seams, so that's what you will have. And this will be part of your base. So I'm going to just show you. And here's another thing I just want to point out why it's important that your stretch needs to go this way, so because you're putting this over something and you're also stuffing. If you stuff something and you have the stretch going in the other way, your head is going to tighten this way and then elongate. So your head will like that and get distorted. So it's important. I can't stress enough, this is important. And then you're going to have this little circle down here, which is your base. Okay? Let's get all this minky fabric that gets everywhere. Garbage. Okay. Now we have this piece. Now we're going to trim up the arms. See? Now when that hangs, that's going to have some weight, but you don't want any stuffing in here. You want that flat. Just stuffing in here. Okay? So you're going to do the both this way, and then we'll come back and do the head. Okay, we are back again. I'm hooped up with another tearaway stabilizer. You're only going to use for the head, excuse me, I didn't mean to bump you. 2 pieces again of this. You're going to do a sandwich again, and it's all going to be done on top, remembering this nape has to go down, and then the stretch. Now I did rotate my design a little bit to fit my hoop. The design is made for a 5x7. A lot of people have 5x7s and don't have any other, and so I felt that a lot of these other machines need the ability to be able to make stuff too. So your pieces are going to be cut, and because it's an angle, you need to be doing it in the direction of the design. Okay, let's okay. We're back. This is what you got. Leave the stabilizer and let's cut her out. Let's see if I can. The outside lines. My daughter is creeping around behind me. Okay. And this turns into a little circle. You're going to use spray adhesive here and here on the base, but to stuff this you need to close these ears off, otherwise you're putting stuffing in the ear and you don't want to do that. So I'm going to take this over to my sewing machine and I'm going to stitch on this line right here and right here, and I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. Now, I stitched here and here, as you can see. See that? I think the closer I get here, it gets a little, see, stitching. Now, when I stuff this head, I can't get in there. No getting in, okay? But you're not going to want to stuff this until after you put it on the base. And honestly, I'm going to push in his cheeks, everything to get out of the way, squish up his head, because I need this to lay this way on the base, and you're going to be doing the head this way, then this way, then this way, then this way, and then this way, and you're going to be putting this piece over top. And you're going to be doing the same with this way, okay? Also, you will need your arms. So, now that we have all our pieces, getting our trash out of the way, I'll see you back at the embroidery machine. One circle for the head, the other circle for the collar. This is the center placement line, so the seam on the head, you know, I originally messed up and I started taping this. I had it on this same color, so I had to take the head off. But these are your center seam lines, and we're going to spray that with some good old stabilizer, and we're going to use the center circle. And I'm going to try and get this on, centering it on those lines and within the smaller circle. If you notice with Minky, it has a pile, and sometimes they like to fight and move around. Doesn't have to be spot on, just close enough, because your stitching line will be inside here. And I like to get this head where the neck is. See, I don't know if you have a laser beam, but just make sure that you have that head pushed in and in back And I like to hold them out of the way while it's stitching. Now we're going to pull the head forward and line that up again, pulling the head out of the way, and we're flip-flopping this head back and forth, back and forth. Okay, and because I'm putting the color on, I'm just sticking with the tan throughout until I get to the heart, of course. But you're going to want to remove all this excess out of the way. His head will be going back again. Like I said, back and forth, back and forth. Every step, back and forth. Okay. I'm just going to pull him out of the way because we're doing a satin, a loose satin, very loose. Okay, back and forth. Okay, pulling the head out of the way. Again, pulling this head out of the way, and we'll stitch the back. I don't know if you can see that. Now, on other designs with no collar, it's going to be a heavier satin. You're going to want to trim that up really nicely so it gets covered, because that will be on the outside. Okay. Let's see if I can get this back without getting bumped, or, like I said, it's not the greatest of great. Okay. Now it's showing a stitching line, so I need to put the collar on. And I'm going to spray the collar. Through. This would be easier if I just took it out of the machine and okay. Now again, center line. The outer circle. It's a lot bulkier this way. Let's just get that first stitch in. Okay. That's with it. Hold it so it doesn't pull itself out. See where the light hits that? That's why you want to get this out of the way. And making sure that matches up on the outside line. Keep this out of the way. I think this is the hardest part of the whole thing. But yet it's good. It's fast. Okay. Because I'm cutting this in front of camera, this has to be cut pretty good. Now, like I said, it's a satin. But you want all this out of the way. Pushing that. At this point, you're going to see that the next one is, after you do the back, you're going to want to turn cockeyed like that, because we're going to work on the arms. Let's do the stitch. And I like to use a little spray on this too. Doesn't matter where you put it, you don't have to line it up there, just as long as it's up against the neck. In the middle. I put some spray adhesive there, so now you're tacking it down. Okay, so you're going to want to trim that, but for right now, let's hop over, because you don't want to take it out and put it back in. This is the line. Other hand. Notice I'm kind of putting that over. I don't know if you can see that. Because I have enough. I could have sprayed it. Okay, now I'm going to trim these edges. Like I said, it's easier to trim if you're not using a camera. Take it off. And because I use that silly spray, okay. Now pulling this out of the way again. We're back at the front. Getting all of that out of the way. The head again. I don't know. Again. Let's see. You can see. hardest part is done. Okay. And I don't know if I have anything, but I forgot to add this too. I'm using this fabric for the heart. Normally I use a solid. Can you see that? It's got a little teal background, but this camera doesn't get it good. So, I'm going to Okay, we are back. We have our little guy. This is what he looks like. This is what it is, how it's stitched out. Like I said, back and forth. This is all basting. I went ahead and started clipping some of it. But this is all basting. So we're going to remove all that. And just go around and clip. Clip these. I can remove that. If you want, you can burn some of these threads before. Before you cut the bottom, make sure you're on an angle, flip it up. You're going to want to cut this way. You can, but you could cut the neck a lot easier. Just being really careful not to grab anything but the bottom. Okay? You may want to start in the middle. Go edge. Because when you use spray adhesive, that could be really stuck down there. And clip. Yes, my floor is now my garbage can. Cheeks, shaping out the ears, smoothing that out. Yeah, nice. See, the more you stuff it, the more smoother these stitches get. Okay, I think that's enough. Get that out of the way. And down on the floor it goes. I don't know, maybe his head's okay. Yeah, I think his head's okay. He's got these. He's a little harder to figure out his head shape because it's actually smaller this way and longer that way. But there. Now, this collar, I would probably tack that down inside there with a little needle and thread. But I'm just going to get it to where it sits around kind of nicely. I don't know if you can see him. I can't, excuse me. Okay. I think, well, this is a 10 by 10 piece. Most of the pieces, I like to do 12 by 12 because I'm putting a satin backing on this. It's the piece that I added. This is a pattern, and you'll cut that, and two, you'll end up with one piece that's 14.5 by 14.5, and that's how I'm going to close mine. You can close this any way you want, and if you want to just put a general back, like put a square on top, stitch it around, leave an opening, turn, and then baste it shut, works great. Because I used a 10-inch piece, which is too small, want to use this. And you know, I really should not have stuffed this head prior, but I wanted to put that on. And it's easier for me, I mean, because I put enough of these on. So I'm going to take this, and what I'm going to do is I'll flip this big piece, because this is going to have an inch extra. So okay, so I'm going to take this over to my sewing machine. Of course, straight, and I'll be back. Okay, I took it to the sewing machine. As you can see, once you stitch around, you're going to have all these. And of course, and these are all 1/4 inch seam allowances. So you're going to do all 4 corners. Turning. And of course, you always leave something to turn. Whee! Where'd you go? Okay, here's his face. So now it's much bigger now. So you're going to want to stitch the hole on the underside shut. And I like to go in on the sewing machine and stitch here, and stitch here. That keeps this from falling down. And I'm going to top stitch all the way around. But first I'm going to iron this. Okay, we'll be back. Okay, here we go. Okay, I stitched in the ditch. Then I actually used my finger, and you can ruffle up this fur around that stitching to hide your stitching. But that's, and then tacking on the sewing machine, tack, tack. But make sure that you stitch that hole closed. Yeah, he does rattle. And then we'll lay him out. If you want. It's pretty easy. I know the bear is the easiest one. Not the panda is easy, but you do have to do the ears separate, and that you'll have to close on. Each one, the base is done the same unless I put in the instructions if there's an exception. So this, in other words, is the exact same process on all Lovey blankets.